stop everything you're doing right now. Look in the mirror and ask yourself this question. Who am I when nobody's watching? Can't answer. That's because you've been living as a character in someone else's script for so long. You've forgotten who wrote the original story. Here's what nobody tells you about success. The moment you achieve everything you thought you wanted, you might realize you don't recognize the person who achieved it. You check all the boxes. You're respected, maybe even admired. Your life looks perfect on paper. But inside, there's a hollow ache that keeps you awake at 3 a.m., quietly whispering, "I don't even know who I am anymore." Sound familiar? You're not broken. You're just buried. Buried under layers of expectations, performance, and masks you didn't even know you were wearing. Carl Jung, the father of depth psychology, mapped this exact journey. He showed us that what feels like a personal crisis is actually a universal human experience. Today, I'm going to guide you through Jung's roadmap back to yourself. You'll discover the invisible mask that's been controlling your life, the shadow parts you've been running from, and most importantly, how to reclaim the authentic power that's been waiting inside you all along. But I need to warn you, once you see what I'm about to show you, you can't unsee it. Your entire relationship with yourself will change forever. Are you ready to meet who you really are? Carl Jung discovered something that explains why so many successful people feel empty inside. He called it the persona. It's not just a mask you wear occasionally. It's a psychological prison you've been living in your entire life. Here's how it starts. As a child, you express something authentic. Maybe you cry when you're hurt, or you speak your mind, or you show excitement. Someone responds with, "Don't do that. Stop crying. Be a good boy. Be a good girl." And in that moment, you learn a dangerous lesson. Love is conditional. Acceptance required performance. So your mind creates the persona, a socially acceptable version of you designed to earn approval and avoid rejection. You become the achiever, the peacemaker, the responsible one, the one who never causes problems. And it works. You get good grades. You build a career. You earn respect. People praise you for being so together. But here's the trap. While you're mastering these roles, you slowly lose contact with the person behind them. You forget how to say what you truly feel. You forget how to want what you truly want. You forget how to just be. In our social media age, this problem has exploded. You're not just performing for family anymore. You're performing for strangers, followers, algorithms. On LinkedIn, you're the ambitious professional. On Instagram, the joyful adventurer. On dating apps, the emotionally available optimist. You're constantly editing yourself, filtering, framing, packaging, so the outside looks perfect, even if the inside is falling apart. And here's the most dangerous part. Over time, you start believing the mask is who you are. You forget the sound of your own voice. You forget what it feels like to say no and mean it. You forget what authentic laughter sounds like. The persona becomes your identity. Not because you're fake, but because you're exhausted. You've built so many versions of yourself that you don't know which one is real. And maybe you're scared to find out. Because if you take the mask off, what will people think? Will they still love you? Will they still stay? So you keep wearing it, smiling, succeeding, pretending. But deep down, you feel it. That ache, that emptiness, that strange feeling that no matter how together your life looks, you're somehow not in it. That's the cost of a mask worn too long. It doesn't just hide you from the world, it hides you from yourself. You weren't meant to live inside a performance. You were born to be whole. But wholeness requires something scary, removing the mask and seeing what's underneath. Not just the light, but also the dark. The parts you hide, even from yourself. While you were busy building the perfect persona, something else was happening. All the parts of you that didn't fit the image were being pushed into what Carl Jung called the shadow. Your anger, your jealousy, your fear, your raw, messy, unfiltered emotions. Maybe someone told you you're too sensitive, or don't get angry, or be strong. So you pushed those feelings down. You locked them away. You told yourself, that's not me. I'm not like that. But here's the truth that changes everything. Whatever you reject in yourself doesn't disappear. It just goes underground. And when it's underground, it grows in silence. It festers. And eventually, it begins to control you. Not consciously. Unconsciously. You snap at someone over nothing and wonder where the rage came from. You see someone else succeed, and instead of celebrating, you feel bitter. You sabotage relationships right when they're going well. You say, that's not like me. But it is. It's the part of you you've buried. The shadow is still you, just unheard, unseen, unloved. Here's what most people don't understand. Your shadow isn't evil. It's injured. It's the collection of everything about you that you were told should not be owie. And the more you pretend it's not there, the more power it has over you. This is the danger of spiritual bypassing. Pretending to be positive all the time. Being obsessed with light while denying the dark. Modern neuroscience confirms what Jung knew: repressed emotions don't disappear. They store in your nervous system. They create anxiety, depression, addiction, compulsion. You think you're in control, but your shadow is pulling strings behind the scenes. The moment you say, I'm not an angry person, you stop being curious about your anger. So it comes out sideways. In sarcasm, in withdrawal, in rage at the wrong time with the wrong person. But here's the breakthrough. The parts of you that are hardest to look at are often the keys to the healing you've been searching for. Your rage may contain your repressed power. Your jealousy may hold your buried desires. Your sadness may speak of your forgotten needs. The shadow, once seen with compassion, becomes your ally. Not a monster, but a messenger. If you've ever felt like there's a war inside you, like part of you wants peace and part of you is sabotaging it, then subscribe to this channel right now. Because what I'm about to show you next will teach you how to integrate these parts and become whole. And this changes everything. Carl Jung spoke of something beyond the persona, beyond the shadow, something deeper, something whole. He called it the self. The self is not a goal to achieve. It's not a perfected version of you with no flaws. It's the you that's already there, underneath all the layers. It's the quiet, steady, eternal center of your being. Most people live their entire lives disconnected from the self. Why? Because we're too busy managing personas, running from shadows, reacting, fixing, pleasing, striving, too busy doing life to stop long enough to be. The self can't be found in a checklist or a performance or a title. It's accessed through something we've forgotten how to give ourselves: stillness. Not the kind of silence where you scroll your phone, but sacred silence. The kind that feels uncomfortable at first, because in that silence, you begin to hear something. Your real thoughts, your buried feelings, your soul. And it whispers not in words, but in presence. Here's how you return to it. You pause. You sit, not to achieve, but to witness. You observe your thoughts without attaching to them. You feel your emotions without judging them. You stop running and simply exist. And slowly, you begin to remember what it feels like to be home in your body, to be safe in your own mind, to feel rooted without having to grasp. This isn't a dramatic transformation. It's gentle, subtle, soft, but it's also the most powerful shift you'll ever experience. Because for the first time, you are not chasing, you are not hiding, you are not splitting yourself between who you are and who you think you need to be. You are just you, not performing, not striving, not seeking, simply being. And in that being, there's peace. A kind of peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, that doesn't fear change, that doesn't shatter just because someone else doesn't understand you. That is the self, and it has been with you this entire time. You didn't have to earn it. You just had to remove what wasn't yours. The lies, the fear, the image, the noise. What's left is not perfection. It's clarity. It's calm. It's congruence. And it feels like truth. Because you're no longer at war with any part of yourself. The persona is acknowledged. The shadow is welcomed. And the self is finally seen. There are patterns inside you that you didn't create. They were here before you were born. Carl Jung called them archetypes. These are ancient psychological patterns that live in what he called the collective unconscious. You don't learn them. You inherit them. The hero, the caregiver, the sage, the rebel, the lover, the creator, the orphan, the warrior, the wounded healer. Each has its own voice, desire, fears, mission, and without realizing it, you've been dancing with these archetypes your whole life. Have you always felt the need to save others, to fix them, to carry their pain even when no one asked? That's the hero. Have you always been the one to offer advice, to see the big picture, to speak wisdom? That's the sage. Do you find yourself sabotaging peace just to feel alive? Resisting structure? That's the rebel. Do you constantly feel unseen, unworthy, like you don't belong? That's the orphan. Here's the truth. Until you recognize the archetypes at play within you, you cannot choose a different path. You'll keep sacrificing yourself because that's what the caregiver does. You'll keep pushing people away because that's what the wounded warrior believes is safe. But the moment you become aware, something shifts. You can step outside the pattern, not to reject it, but to relate to it consciously. You can ask, what archetype is dominating me right now? Am I acting or reacting? Am I choosing or repeating? Archetypes aren't bad. They're ancient guides, but they're not meant to be dictators. You are allowed to evolve. Just because you were the fixer doesn't mean you must fix everything. Just because you were the protector doesn't mean you must stay in survival mode. You can choose again. You can integrate, not imitate. You can become instead of repeat. Once you can name the pattern, you are no longer owned by it. You are free to rewrite the script, to play new roles, to become more whole. If you've never looked at these patterns before, if you're realizing you've been living unconsciously, then hit that subscribe button now. Because most people live their entire lives reacting from archetypal energy they never even knew existed. But when you become conscious, you take back authorship of your life. Becoming your true self doesn't begin with one grand decision. It begins with small, honest, daily choices. It begins the moment you say no when everything in you wants to people, please. When you stop pretending to be okay just to make others comfortable. When you no longer go back to the role just because someone else expects it. This is not rebellion. This is alignment. It's the courage to be honest in a world that rewards performance. The strength to be present in a life that pushes you to escape. The gentleness to be compassionate toward the parts of yourself you once tried to deny. Living as your true self doesn't mean you're perfect. It means you're real. You're whole. And wholeness is not loud. It doesn't demand attention. It doesn't beg for approval. It just is. You begin to walk differently. You speak more slowly. You choose more intentionally. People may not understand you at first, because when you stop performing, you stop being predictable. But don't let that scare you. Let it free you. You were not born to be a character in someone else's script. You were born to write your own story. A story shaped by truth, not fear. Written for authenticity, not applause. Guided by soul, not ego. And the beauty is this: you don't have to fix everything today. You only have to remember that deep within you is a version of you that never left. It's the part that still believes in gentleness, that still knows what peace feels like, that still whispers beneath the noise, I'm still here. Come back. So let this be your quiet revolution. Not the kind that makes headlines, but the kind that transforms your mornings, your conversations, your choices, your presence. Let your authenticity be the soft rebellion. Let your inner truth be the North Star. Because the most painful regret is not what you didn't do. It's who you didn't become. Will you live your entire life as a character crafted by expectation? Or will you finally return to being the author of your own story? The choice has always been yours. But here's what I know. If you've made it this far, if you're still here, still listening, then something in you is already waking up. Something is already saying, I'm ready. Not for a breakthrough or a brand new identity, but for something quieter, more sacred, more lasting. A return. A return to who you are when the noise fades, when the mask falls, when the expectations melt. A return to what's always been there but forgotten. The truth. The center. The self. If this journey has stirred something within you, if it made you stop, reflect, breathe, then I invite you to hit subscribe. Not for me, but for you, so that week by week, you have a space to come back to yourself. This is more than content. This is a quiet corner of the internet where masks come off and souls exhale. Leave a comment below with just 2 words, coming home. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're ready. And when you're ready for the next step, watch the art of integrating the shadow or silence as a path to the self. You don't have to walk this alone. Not anymore. We walk it together. Your authentic self is waiting. It's time to come home.